Ladies and gentlemen, button pushers and wrench turners, welcome to another episode of Something's Broken. My name's Taylor Goodyear, and I own TG CNC Service out of Wisconsin. So this week was a little light, a little slow. I kind of did that on purpose. I had some meetings going on that are potentially leading into some future work. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of dedicate this week to just keeping it open for meetings, knocking on doors, doing some sales, stuff like that. So the first meeting I had was with a new potential customer about 30 minutes away. They have, I think, 15 assets in house, and they want a PM service put together and performed on all of the machines. So the meeting was to go over what they had for machine wise, what they were looking for as far as PM wise and whatnot, and to establish what the plan is going to be moving forward. So my contractor and I went in there just to get eyes on everything on Monday and take a look at all the machines that they have and what kind of open issues they might have. I think we also may have solidified the service side as well too. At least I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, we fix machines and we also PM them. So, why not just call one guy for everything instead of splitting it up or something like that? So, the meeting went pretty well. We're still in communications back and forth. Um, doing PM stuff, customers sometimes get cold feet. It is what it is. I don't know why. Maybe it's the pricing or something like that that they don't like, and there's nothing I could do for that. Um, it's in the ball's in their court right now, so I'm just waiting for them to dribble it back to me. So Tuesday was at one of my local customers. They got a hold of me and asked me if I could run a new encoder cable on a Haas 5-axis machine. I can't remember what the hell the name of it was. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll figure that out. And I asked my contractor if he thought he wanted to go on it for some training. And he's like, it was just running a cable. I know how to do that. I was like, nah, it's more than just that, buddy. So let's get your ass in there, and you can run the cable, and I'll help you, and then I'll also teach you how to set spindle orientation as well too. Now on Haas's, some of you probably already know, you have to be kind of careful because if it's a new gen control, they start locking you out of the parameters unless you have a service key. Um, I am in the works of getting a service key figured out and put together, but this was my first concern on the machine because obviously if it was a new gen, there was no way I was going to be able to complete the job. So I needed to figure that out, and it's not. It's a classic Haas control. So no worries. We were able to get to the spindle parameter, no problem, and get that set. We got the cable ran. We were there maybe, I don't know, 3 hours, something like that, and got everything figured out and aligned. And we did several tool changes, did a RPM on the spindle, no issues. So we moved on from that. That was a pretty successful day. So um, Wednesday was also a meeting with a potential partnership with a local company. I won't say who they are, but they reached out to me. I had already had a meeting with them about a year and a half ago, and nothing ever came from it. It was just kind of us just shaking hands and kind of getting familiar with each other and just knowing, we both exist. And they reached out to me again last week and asked me if I wanted to sit down again and talk about how we could potentially use each other's resources in the future. I was like, yeah, sure. So we sat down. We had a really good conversation. I'm not sure what's going to come of it, but I'm always able to keep my options open. I always want to keep my options open for whatever kind of help I can provide for anybody in the future. So we'll keep talking, and we'll revisit probably in the next month or so, and just, hey, what's coming of this, if anything, and then probably talk again about it. Maybe we'll see. I meetings like that, I kind of not think too much of them because they kind of never go anywhere. Um, but I don't try to stay adamant on it. I just kind of, again, put the ball in their court, and then when they're ready to dribble it back to me, then I'm willing to accept it. So while I was in that meeting, I just got out, and one of my local customers hit me up. They were having a tailstock issue alignment on a NL 2500. So I was like, "Yep, be there about an hour." So I headed over there and started checking, and they've got a lot of run out on the tailstock bearings. The taper's good, like really good, but their run out's just way too high. I tried adjusting the run out. Didn't really work. I didn't really expect it to work. Um, I've seen it before to where you try to tighten up the thrust bearings and it can make it better, but when they crash it, or it gets bumped too many times, it's shot. So you just got to replace the bearings. So we got those parts on ordered. Um, I didn't have anything Thursday, um, but I have some exciting development within my company. Talking with my contractor, I think we found a potential salesperson moving forward with our companies. So we are meeting Saturday, and I put together a bunch of, all the information that they're going to need to do the job and whatnot. And we're going to sit down Saturday and see if it's logical, and hopefully start doing some sales and see where that goes. I'm willing to always try. I never know where it's gonna go or what's gonna happen, but I definitely am willing to try. So we're gonna figure that out, and hopefully that'll be a really cool partnership with the salesperson, and I'll keep everybody updated on how that's going in the future. Friday, I didn't think I was gonna have anything. Well, Thursday, I spent most of the day just like putting together the salesperson's like info and stuff, what they're gonna need going out and whatnot. So Friday, I didn't think I was gonna have anything either because I booked light, and my one of my top local customers hit me up and told me that their Akuma V80R is not repeating, and it's doing some very weird stuff. I was like, okay, well, I'll come in Friday, and I'll start sweeping stuff and taking some stuff apart and checking ball screws and shit like that. So got in there, took some covers off. A V80R Akuma is a vertical lathe, not your standard horizontal that most of the people see in the field. It's a vertical lathe, which I've worked on a couple of times already. This one specifically. So I am a little familiar with it, and it has a FANUC control, not the Akuma proprietary control. So FANUC, I'm all over it. I'll work on anything with FANUC. So got in there. I started sweeping the turret. Parallelism's great. Didn't see anything wrong with that. The center line from a boring bar holder to the center line of the spindle, um, it seemed okay. I not wasn't anything too concerning. I checked the ball screw, see if there was any movement, like mechanical movement in the ball screw. Didn't see anything there. Um, I checked backlash of the x-axis. Nothing. I mean, it was repeating great. Within a micron or two. So the repeatability is pretty damn good. And I put my indicator on the turret, and I grabbed the turret by hand and just kind of just rocked it back and forth. And the amount of movement that I had in that turret was not good. Not good at all. I'm talking, I had my 2 micron indicator on it. I wasn't expecting to see anything. Maybe like 5 thou deflection or 5 micron deflection or something like that. But if it deflected back to what back to zero, okay, I'm okay. But theoretically, I shouldn't see any movement out of that turret at all. And this is a pretty old machine. I shouldn't see any movement out of that turret. I was seeing off my indicator, and I think my indicator is a 200 micron indicator. I think. I mean, 200 microns of just me grabbing it by hand and moving it while it's clamped. That's not good. It should do that. So we think we are not getting sufficient clamping pressure. Either that or we broke some bolts on the couplings. But if that was the case, I think I would see my parallelism kind of fucked up, and I didn't see anything too alarming on the parallelism. I think I seen 15 microns of parallelism on the turret. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not that alarming per se. Obviously, it should be corrected, and I'll probably correct it later down the road. But they're still kind of remotely able to run certain types of parts. Um, so rocking that turret like that, I was seeing off my indicator, which is not good. And not only that, but it wasn't springing back to zero. So I was actually getting physical deviation in the rotation of the turret while it's clamped. Not good. Not good at all. So I brought the programmer over, and I kind of showed him. I was like, hey man, this isn't supposed to do that. And I talked to the operator, and the operator was like, yeah, I had to put some hydraulic oil in for the first time in like over a year. I was like, that's not good. That means you're losing hydraulic oil somewhere. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's a closed circuit. So you shouldn't see any hydraulic oil theoretically. You shouldn't see any hydraulic oil level drop in that. He's like, yeah, I had to put a noticeable amount in. I was like, okay, that's definitely not good. So more and more is leading towards we need to rip it apart and rebuild it and redo the seals and the clamping piston. Um, so we need to get all the parts ordered for that because that's something that they don't have, readily available. And like I said, it's an older Kuma, so it's probably going to take some time. The distributor kind of sucks, so we don't know when we're going to get parts for it. But at least they're able to limp along right now and just kind of, run parts and keep checking adamantly on what they're running. So that was Friday. Next week, and this is part of the reason why I booked light as well too. Next week, I'm going to Virginia for an OEM. I need to tear a B-axis complete table casting out of a machine so the customer can send it to be rebuilt. And then they had some other stuff going on. I think like some tool grippers need to be replaced, something like that. I don't know. They got a list of shit they want me to do down there, so whatever, no worries. I'll be driving to Virginia. I like driving down or driving anywhere in that case. If I can stay out of an airport, I'll stay out of it. Plus, there might be quite a bit of tooling that I might need for the job, and it just makes me feel better driving knowing that I got all of my tools. So I will be leaving Sunday to head down there, and I more than likely will be there for the entire week. So I at least I booked it, scheduled it for a week. Worst case, but I think it will take me about a week to get everything done and get the B-axis table out. The following week, I will be going to Mexico for a business trip. I am looking at a potential investment from my company, so I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I'm not too, I'm not thinking too much of it. My contact down there is pretty cool dude I went to high school with, so we're just going to kind of meet up and talk about investment opportunities and stuff that, may be logical for me and my company. Who knows? We'll see. Trying to think if anything else in the pipeline. A lot of parts on order right now. there's a lot of potential work coming up. We're just waiting on parts and waiting on customers, yes or no, and things like that. So, kind of a short podcast. It's pretty straightforward. We didn't really do much this week other than meetings and stuff, and a couple of machines that didn't really have much done to them. So, pretty straightforward. Motivational time, and this was something that I've had to kind of figure out for myself too. But it's dwelling on something for too long, whether it's an opportunity that you were working for, or something in schooling you were pushing off, or something that happened in your past and you're still dwelling on it. Now, mentally, for anybody, that's not good. We don't need to live our lives in the past, because that only keeps you in the past. And when you're stuck in the past, there's no room for you to grow for the future. So if you feel like you're stuck on something from the past, I mean, how long? How long are you going to sit there and dwell on something that's already happened? It's you got to be able to recognize that you can't control everything, and things are going to happen to where it's out of your control. But to sit there and dwell on what has already happened and think in your mind, like, man, I wish I could just go back. It's done. It's time to move on, you know, because you're not going to be able to grow as a person, whether you're growing a business. You had a business opportunity that fell through in the past. This is me kind of speaking from experience. You had a business opportunity that fell through in the past, and you're still dwelling on that to this day, and you kind of holding a grudge against those people because they talked it up a lot and everything was promising, and then it didn't happen. And you can't sit on those things and dwell on the things like that have already happened. You have to push forward. You have to get through, and you have to start planning on your next move. Like, what's the next thing that you're going to do? You have to keep pushing forward. So stop dwelling on the past, move forward, and grow. Growing's great. Growing's fun. Growing's so positive mentally for yourself. It could be physically positive as well too, depending on what you're doing. But growing is always positive, always positive. And when you stop dwelling on things in the past that have happened, man, it just opens up so much potential growth for the future. And owning a business, this is something that you learn. This is You're gonna have some tough days. You're gonna have some tough opportunities that don't happen, and you bank a lot on them, and they don't happen. And you have to move forward. It's the only way to keep growing. So, I love it. Thank you guys. I know this was a quick, short one, which is good for everybody, but I will catch you guys on the next episode. I don't know when I'm going to be able to have the time to shoot it, but I will shoot it as much as quick as I can when I get back home. Um, Again, my name is Tayler Goodyear, and I own TG CNC Service out of Wisconsin. We'll see you guys.